Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are exploring two powerful categories of SQL functions. String functions for manipulating and formatting text, date functions to work with time-based data like dates and timestamps. If you are building reports, validating inputs, or transforming data, you need these functions. Let's get right into it with practical examples. We will use sample employees table for string functions and a logins table for the date functions. So let's create them. Here I have already written the create statements and let me execute. So now two tables have been created. Let's add a few rows to work with them. As you can see, the table has been created and data also has been inserted. Let's start with the most useful string functions in SQL, upper and lower. To use that, we'll say select name, comma. Let's say if you want to print email in uppercase, so we'll say in the upper, and inside the parenthesis we need to specify the column name, so that is email as upper email, comma, and for lower same syntax. So we need to specify the column name in the parenthesis. So again I will say email as lower email, and we need to specify the table name, so from employees. So let's execute. As you can see, for all the three employees we have uppercase email id and the lowercase email id. If you want to get a length of a string, we have the function length. So let's say select name, comma, and we have length function, and inside this we will have to pass the column name. We'll pass column name as name length from employees table. So let's execute. It's not length, it's len length. As you can see, we have got the length of the name, that is 13, 9 and 7. Now let's see the substring function. So substring will extract a part of a string. So we'll say from the name we'll extract some part of a string. So name, and we'll say substring, and here we need to specify the column name, that is name, and also we need to specify from which character to which character. So from first character to, let's say, 5 character, say as short name from employees table. So let's execute. As you can see, we have got, this is the full name which is there in the name column, and this is the short name where we have extracted only the 5 characters from that name. Now let's see the concat. So concat is great for combining two strings. So in this example we will combine name and email id. We need to specify the concat. Inside the parenthesis, the first string which we need to concat, that is name, comma, and inside the single quote we'll specify the delimiter, so that is hyphen, and the second string, so in our case it is email, and we'll say as contact info from employees table. Let's execute. As you can see, we have got name hyphen the email id for all the employees. Now let's see the trim function. So trim function, it removes us extra spaces in the text, so it's useful when cleaning a raw text. Let's see, we have the text like this, and now we need to remove these blank spaces. So for that we use trim function. So we'll specify trim, and we'll say as trimmed, and here we'll say select. Let's execute. As you can see, the blank spaces which are there here has been removed. Now let's switch to working with date and time using the logins table. So to get the current date and the time, we have the inbuilt function called getDate and sysDateTime. Let's see how we can use that. So select, we have getDate function, and we'll say as, so it's a date variable, and here we'll cast getDate as date and to as today to give the column name. And similarly we have get date function as now, comma, and we have sys date time as current time. So let me execute this. As you can see, we got the current date, that is 8/6/2025. Because we have casted it to date, we have only got the date, and if we use the get date, we get the date and the time, and sys date time is the precise time when I executed this query. So that is 3:30 with seconds and the milliseconds. Now let's break down a date into parts like year, month and day. So let's select login time, and we have this year function, and in this year function we can pass this login time, and we can say as year. And similarly we can do for month as month, comma, and for day we have day as day, and we need to specify from which table, so that is from logins table. So let's execute. So we have these three login time, and it has been splitted into parts by year, month and day. 2024 month is 12 and day is 31. So it's ideal for filtering or grouping by time periods. Now let's say if you want to calculate the differences between two dates in days, or you can also use hours, minutes, etc. by using date diff function. So we have this login time, comma, and we'll say date diff. In the day, the first parameter is the day. That means we are taking the difference in days, and we have to specify the column name from which we need to take the difference, and till when we'll say get date, that means current date. This will become days since login. So let me execute this. As you can see from the current date from the last login time, so it has been 159 days since that login time has been logged. We can also use hours. We'll get the differences in hours. Similarly in minute, we get it in minutes, etc. Now let's say if you want to add the dates. So we have this login time. If you want to get the data of 1 week later, so we have this date add, and here we need to specify if we are adding days or minutes. So here I am specifying a day, and in the next parameter it is how many days. So let's say 1 week, so 7 days, and the column name, that is login time, and it is as 1 week later. If you want to subtract, similarly we can add, we'll use the date add function. Let's say day. Here we'll specify the negative numbers like -3, comma, login time as 3 days before. So let me execute this. So the login time is this, 1 week later, 7 days has been added, and for this -3 days has been subtracted. So this is perfect for reminders or expiry calculations. We can also format the date time for useful readable outputs. For example, in reports or in application. For that we have format function. So let's say we have login time. We need to format this time. So we'll say format, and here we'll say login time, and here we need to specify the format. Let's say DD for the date, and month, and for year, hour, minutes, and let's say TT as formatted login. So let's execute. So we got the formatted time in AM and PM. So this is useful for readable outputs in reports and applications. There are so many ways you can format this date time, and you can Google it. So when you want to standardize and clean name or email data, break timestamps into year, month, week for analysis, generate follow-up or reminder dates, calculate account age or time since last login, build cleaner output for front-end applications. Here are some best practices when using string and date functions. Normalize text data before running functions. Trim case. Store dates using proper date time types, not as strings. Avoid using functions in where clause on indexed columns. Always test with boundary values, nulls, blank, odd formats. Awesome work. Now you have got a solid grip on string and date functions in SQL Server. Use them to clean, transform, and extract insights from your data. Try them in your own queries or build a small project around log data or employees records. If you enjoy this video, give it a like, hit subscribe for more SQL tutorials. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. See you in the next video and happy querying.